So good morning, good afternoon. My name is Cecille de Jesus. I'm the head of media and public relations for Eternity Blockchain. So today I'll be talking about how Eternity can help developing countries like the Philippines. Okay, so this is the usual images that you see when we talk about the Philippines. It's beautiful and real, definitely real, so not bad. But then there's also this other side of that reality that you don't see too often in materials like that. So this is the side of that world that we need to benefit, and this is usually like the underserved people. Because like we talk about economic growth a lot, but I don't think it means anything if the quality of life for the majority is horrible or remains poor. So where does eternity fit in this world? Okay, so one of the things that I think has to be addressed is for change makers, would it still be worth it to even bother trying to do something in a place like this? So I would like to argue that social good can be profitable. So making profit is definitely not a bad thing, of course, at reasonable levels. And I think it's in fact necessary to bootstrap causes like this so that you don't have to rely on external help and that you can continue to do good so that you keep the lights on. Because if you can't keep the lights on, then you can't help anybody else. Okay, so obviously finance is one of the primary applications, but the way finance works in countries like the Philippines is different from the way most of you are probably used to. So for one thing, we're really big on micropayments. Okay, so we have the microeconomy and how micro is micro really. 1 peso, we still buy stuff at 1 peso, and that's equivalent to 0.017 euro or 0.019 USD. So it's not even 2 cents. So definitely we need a currency that works for people who live under $2 a day. In fact, we spend less than 2 cents in your currency. Okay, so what do we spend this money on? In many places you buy by the bulk, but in the Philippines we buy by the increments. So you would find that we have spices, cooking oil, all that stuff, even shampoo in sachets, and all are packed in smaller plastics. So this is also one of the reasons why we are some of the biggest pollutants with plastic. So another difference is that we are still very much cash-based. Majority of Filipinos still use cash for everyday transactions, but I think this can be changed. And it's a very good opportunity, I believe. So the banking penetration is quite low as well. Like we are among the lowest in Southeast Asia. The reason for this is that many people don't even have IDs, or they don't have good credit scores, or like some of them still live in rural areas where they're really not accustomed to having to go to an institution to save their money. So one of the biggest problems is internet penetration. So not a lot of people, not everyone in the Philippines or in other developing countries have access to good internet, which means we don't also have access to online banking or mobile banking. Okay, but despite the low banking penetration, we still spend quite a hefty sum. So if you would see, this is 1.1 trillion pesos average transaction daily. That's the volume, and that equates to $19 billion per day. So that's a huge sum, and that's just banking. Considering the fact that we haven't even tapped the whole population yet, it's a really low percentage. So the Philippines is also the leading country in terms of mobile payment adoption. So this is because of the internet problem. So we rely on transfers via SMS. So yeah, 22%, and we're still at 22%. So there's still a huge untapped market for payments, mobile payments. And what do we use these for? So we have mobile and internet credits, money transfer local, bills and POS payments. Although POS payments is still not that big in adoption, but I think this is another opportunity for everyone who's going to think of applications. So mobile POS payments, despite only at 22%, the volume is at $212 million, and the year-on-year growth is quite big. It's 51%. So users are 11.8 million. So it's still not bad. And then, as you all know, the Philippines is one of the biggest digital remittance service provider, because you have people working overseas or even just in Manila sending money back to the province. So the volume in 2019 is expected to be at $575 million. So that's $500 million, with a 34.5% year-on-year expected growth. So digital commerce, this is where it gets really big. So this is at $7 billion with 19.2% year-on-year growth expectation. That's considering the fact that we're still all mostly cash-based. And if we were able to tap on digital payments or mobile payments, it's really a huge market. Okay, one next application that I think is really important is supply chain management. So in the Philippines, supply chain management is not just about streamlining or making things more efficient and cutting costs. For some, it can actually mean the difference between life or death, as in the difference between whether they're going to eat tonight or not. So I'm going to get to that in a bit. So what I think has to be solved is that we need to have a more efficient way for peer-to-peer trading, so the local economy. So why is this? So we need to enable self-sustainability, and to do that we need to strengthen local economies. So connecting buyers and sellers directly is very important, and to fight oversupply by making things more efficient. So by oversupply, the problem really is that we have a lot of local providers for products. However, we're still importing so many things because that's what corporations want to do. So this food imports is 15.9 million in 2017. I think that's even going to grow. And then to give you an example, here is a list of prices. So there was the rice tarification law that was recently introduced, which stripped farmers of $95 billion pesos in income. So the problem here is that you have local suppliers and farmers providing at very, very low costs. If you would see here, one kilo is 2 pesos, and to give you to put this into context, that's just worth 33 cents in euros. So that's really not worth what the farmers have invested, the time, the months, everything that they've invested. But this is because of the oversupply. So there's the competition between imports and exports is really, really bad. So here, I'm going to give you an even better view of how it is the competition between supermarkets and farmers. So there's the tale of blood veggies, which somebody coined based on blood diamonds. So in here, people from supermarkets would offer the farmers 2 pesos per kilo of this. So that's how many, like 3 cents in euros. And then they're gonna sell these at 35 pesos. That's a 3,400% profit. So now the farmers are starving. They don't have any money. They're basically selling their produce at like peanuts. So it's a really big problem. So there's a very big discrepancy in the way compensation is distributed. So this page actually called Session Groceries tried to solve this by going to Benguet, like up north. So they're trying to connect farmers there directly to Manila. And the demand is there. It's just really the supply chain management. So there was a point even when the vegetables started to rot because they couldn't get it to where they should be. So in a country where a lot of people are starving, this is just absolutely unacceptable. Okay, so how big is this market really? So here is the number of supermarkets in the Philippines in 2016 and 17. SM alone has 174. And it's actually the same SM as the one here. So it's the same corporations over and over doing food retail. They own also some of the other chains. So it's like one giant corporation with different chains of supermarkets delivering the food and buying the produce at really cheap and then thousands of percentage in profit. So why are they all like grabbing this supermarket industry? It's because this industry is worth at least $46 billion. So at $46 billion, you would think that at least some of this would at least go to the actual farmers, but that's not happening. So this is also a disgusting trend that is not just unique to the Philippines. This is happening everywhere. Okay, so self-sustenance, this is what I was trying to point out. And this is just one of the many applications that I can think of. So if people could think of a business where they could connect buyers to suppliers and give most of the profit to the suppliers, that would actually make things more equal. So I think this is one of the things that I hope entrepreneurs would think about when they're thinking about businesses. So it is a profitable business. It's just that we need more people to go into the space and make things more equal and build a business out of social good. So that was what I was pointing out. Social good can be profitable. Okay, so for my part, for anyone who's interested in building something like this, you can always ask me questions and connect to me through the forum of Eternity. I'll try to answer as much as I can. Of course, I can't always do that, but I'll try to point you in the direction of whoever can. That's it.